She warned them to stay out. They didn't listen, so she made sure they never tried again. Olivia Carter had worked hard for everything she had. At 44 years old, she was proud of her home, a beautiful two-story house in Austin, Texas, with a spacious backyard that was her sanctuary. Towering oak trees lined the fence, casting cool shade over the perfectly maintained crystal-clear pool in the center of it all. She wasn't one to brag, but she had every reason to be proud. She had bought this house on her own, no handouts, no shortcuts, just years of grinding, saving, and making smart choices. Her neighborhood was a mix of families, some friendly, some who kept to themselves. That was fine. Olivia wasn't looking to be anyone's favorite neighbor. She just wanted to live in peace. But that peace? It didn't last long. The first warning sign. The first time it happened, Olivia brushed it off. One Saturday afternoon, she came home from running errands and noticed something strange. Wet footprints leading from her backyard gate to the sidewalk. At first, she thought maybe it was the pool guy or a utility worker. Then she saw it. A dripping wet towel, carelessly thrown over her fence. She walked over to the pool. The water level was lower. Her pool float had been moved. A half-empty soda can sat on her lounge chair. Someone had been in her backyard. She took a deep breath, trying to give people the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe some kid jumped the fence, panicked, and ran. But when she asked around, she got nothing but casual shrugs. "Oh, it's probably just one of the kids," a woman said with a laugh. "You know how they are." Another neighbor, a man in his 50s, barely looked up from washing his car. "They're just having fun. You got a nice pool, Miss Carter. People notice." The way he said it bothered her, but she didn't push. She just tightened the lock on her gate and hoped it wouldn't happen again. They didn't take the hint, but it did. A week later, she was sitting in her living room when she heard splashing. At first, she thought maybe she had left the pool filter running. Then, laughter. She walked to the back door and peeked outside. There, in her private pool, was a teenage boy casually swimming as if he owned the place. A girl, probably his sister, sat at the edge, dipping her feet in the water. Olivia flung the door open. "Excuse me." The kids jerked up, eyes wide. The boy scrambled out of the water like a fish caught on a hook. I thought," he stammered, "we didn't think you'd mind." "You didn't think to ask?" Olivia snapped. "Who even are you?" The girl mumbled something about living 2 houses down before they bolted out the gate. The neighbors didn't care. The next day, Olivia confronted the kids' parents expecting an apology. Instead, she got an argument. "Oh, come on," the mother scoffed. "They're just kids. It's hot. What's the big deal?" Olivia stared at her, stunned. "The big deal," she said slowly. "This is my property, my home, my pool, and I don't remember handing out invitations." The father, arms crossed, muttered, "You're being dramatic." Dramatic. That was the word people loved to throw around when they weren't the ones being disrespected. Olivia bit back the words she really wanted to say. Instead, she installed security cameras. Maybe that would send a message. But it didn't. The last straw. For 2 weeks, the cameras worked. No footprints, no wet towels, no uninvited swimmers. Olivia thought, maybe I finally got my point across. Then, one scorching Saturday afternoon, she pulled into her driveway and immediately noticed something was off. Her side gate, the one she always kept locked, was slightly open. A bad feeling crept up her spine. She walked around back, and there it was, her yard, full of people, not just kids, grown adults. Lounge chairs were taken, beer bottles littered the ground. Someone had even set up a folding table with snacks. And her pool? Full. A couple of women were waist-deep, chatting like it was their own backyard. A man leaned against the pool ledge, grinning as he sipped a drink. For a second, Olivia thought she had lost it. Was this real? She took a step forward, scanning the crowd. That's when she locked eyes with one of her neighbors, Sandra, 3 houses down. Sandra, who had never spoken to Olivia before. Sandra, who now waved at her like this was some casual get-together. "Hey, girl, hope you don't mind," she called out. "It was so hot today, we figured we'd cool off." Olivia's jaw tightened. Mind? Oh, she minded. She took a deep breath and stepped forward. Her voice was sharp and steady. "Every single one of you, get outside. Now." Some people froze. Others exchanged looks like she was overreacting. Sandra scoffed. "Oh, don't be like that. It's just a pool. You weren't even home." Olivia stepped forward. Her anger bubbled beneath the surface. "It's not just a pool. It's my pool, my house, my yard. You don't live here. You don't pay for this. So get out." The murmurs stopped. A few people muttered under their breath as they gathered their things. Sandra rolled her eyes. "You don't have to be so uptight." Olivia slammed the gate behind them. She was done. If respect wasn't going to stop them, something else would. And the next time they tried, they'd regret it. Because this pool was closed for good. The pool they should have stayed out of. She warned them. They didn't listen. So she made sure they never tried again. Emily Reynolds had worked too hard for what she had. At 41 years old, she was proud of her home. A beautiful 2-story house in Savannah, Georgia, with a secluded backyard that was her personal escape. A crystal-clear pool, surrounded by lush greenery, sat at the center of it all. She had bought this house on her own. No help, no favors, just years of long hours, saving, and smart decisions. Her neighborhood was a mix of longtime residents and new families. Some were friendly. Some were nosy. Some were just plain entitled. But Emily didn't care. She wasn't here to win popularity contests. She just wanted to enjoy her home in peace. But that peace, it didn't last long. The first warning sign. The first time it happened, Emily tried to be reasonable. One Saturday afternoon, she came home and noticed something strange. Wet footprints leading from her backyard gate to the sidewalk. Then she saw it. A dripping, wet towel, thrown carelessly over her fence. Her stomach dropped. She walked to the pool. The water level was lower. Her lounge chair was moved. A half-empty soda can sat next to it. Someone had been in her pool. Emily took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe some kid jumped the fence, got spooked, and ran. She asked around. Her neighbors shrugged it off. "Oh, probably just one of the kids," one woman said, laughing. "You know how they are." Another neighbor, an older man washing his car, barely looked up. "You've got a nice pool, Miss Reynolds. People notice." That didn't sit right with her, but she let it go. For now. They didn't take the hint. A week later, Emily was inside when she heard splashing. Then, laughter. Her stomach turned. She rushed to the back door and froze. There, in her private pool, was a teenage boy swimming like he owned the place. A girl, maybe his sister, sat at the edge, dipping her feet in. Emily threw open the door. "Excuse me!" The kids jerked up, eyes wide. The boy scrambled out of the water, dripping wet. I thought," he stammered. "We didn't think you'd mind." Emily's eyes narrowed. "You didn't think to ask?" she snapped. "Who even are you?" The girl mumbled something about living 2 houses down, then they bolted out the gate. The next day, Emily confronted their parents. She expected an apology. Instead, she got attitude. "Oh, come on," the mom scoffed. "They're just kids. It's hot. What's the big deal?" Emily's jaw tightened. "The big deal? It's my property, my pool, and I didn't invite them." The dad, arms crossed, muttered, "You're overreacting." Overreacting? That was the word people used when they weren't the ones being disrespected. Emily bit her tongue. She just installed security cameras. Maybe that would send a message. But it didn't. The last straw. For 2 weeks, nothing happened. Then, one blazing hot afternoon, Emily pulled into her driveway and noticed her side gate was open. Her heart sank. She rushed to the backyard, and there it was, her pool, full of people, not just kids, grown adults. Lawn chairs were taken, beer bottles scattered everywhere. Someone had even set up a table with snacks, and her pool, completely packed. A man sipped a beer, grinning from the deep end. For a second, Emily thought she was hallucinating. Then, she locked eyes with one of her neighbors, Vanessa, 3 houses down. Vanessa, who had never spoken to Emily before. Now she waved casually. "Hey, girl, hope you don't mind," she called out. "It was so hot, we figured we'd cool off." Emily's blood boiled. Mind? Oh, she minded. She took a deep breath and stepped forward. Her voice was sharp and steady. "Every single one of you, get out. Now." Some froze. Others exchanged looks like she was overreacting. Vanessa rolled her eyes. "It's just a pool. You weren't even home." Emily stepped forward. Her anger simmered. "It's not just a pool. It's my pool, my home, my property. Now get out." That got them moving. Drinks were snatched, towels were wrapped up, and in minutes her yard was empty. Vanessa, of course, had one last thing to say. "You don't have to be so uptight." Emily slammed the gate shut. She knew one thing for sure. This wasn't over. They had zero respect for her, and if respect wasn't enough to stop them, something else would. The ultimate revenge. Emily had tried everything. Talking, cameras, locks. Nothing worked. So now, she got creative. She replaced the gate locks with industrial-grade ones. She ordered a special chemical, pool dye. Not dangerous, just highly embarrassing. If even one of those freeloaders tried again, they'd leave looking like a radioactive alien. Then she had a custom sign made. Warning, pool chemically treated for unauthorized use. Exposure may cause severe rashes or skin discoloration. Did it sound extreme? Sure. Was it true? Nope. But they didn't know that. And guess what? The next time she saw them walking by her fence, they read the sign, whispered, and walked away. Emily sipped her iced tea, smirking. Pools closed. For good. The pool was off limits. But they didn't listen. For the first time in months, Emma finally felt at peace. No more random towels, no more strangers lounging in her yard, no more entitled attitudes. Her plan had worked, or at least she thought it did. Then came the knock. It was a Thursday evening when she heard it. Sharp, impatient banging on her front door. Emma sighed, setting down her iced tea before peeking through the peephole. Vanessa, arms crossed, looking pissed. Emma rolled her eyes. "Here we go." She opened the door, keeping her expression calm. "Yes?" Vanessa wasted no time. "We need to talk." Emma raised an eyebrow. "Do we?" Vanessa huffed. "Look, I don't know what your problem is, but people are saying you put some kind of dangerous chemicals in your pool." Emma blinked, then smirked. "I did," she said smoothly, "to keep out uninvited guests." Vanessa's jaw clenched. "You can't do that. What if a kid touches the water?" Emma folded her arms. "A kid who broke into my yard?" Vanessa faltered. "That's not the point." Emma tilted her head. "It's exactly the point." Her voice was firm, unwavering. "I told people to stay out. They didn't listen, so I took precautions." Vanessa scoffed. "You're ridiculous. You don't even have kids. It's just sitting there, going to waste." Emma let out a dry laugh. "So, because I don't have kids, that means my pool is public property?" Vanessa rolled her eyes. "Oh, come on. Don't act like—" Emma cut her off. "No, you come on, Vanessa. You and the rest of these people have some nerve. You don't pay my water bill, you don't clean my pool, but you expect to just help yourselves?" Vanessa's face flushed red. "Well, if you weren't so unfriendly, maybe people would actually like you." Emma laughed, not a bitter laugh, a deep, genuine one. "And there it is," she said, shaking her head. "That's your problem, Vanessa. You think being liked means letting people walk all over you." Vanessa opened her mouth, then closed it, then shook her head in frustration. "You know what? Forget it." She turned on her heel. "Enjoy being the mean neighbor." Emma called after her. "Enjoy using your own hose this summer." Vanessa stomped off, muttering under her breath. Emma shut the door, smiling to herself. They were mad, but they had finally gotten the message. One final touch, just in case. Just to be sure, Emma doubled down. The next morning, she installed one final addition, a motion-activated sprinkler system along the fence. Anyone sneaking in would get a cold wake-up call. But the best part? She never had to use it, because nobody tried again. The freeloading days were over. It was never about revenge. After months of frustration, Emma had finally reclaimed her peace. The pool was hers again. The backyard was quiet. The entitlement? Gone. And the best part? She never even had to call the police, because that was never the goal. She wasn't trying to cause drama. She wasn't trying to start a war with her neighbors. She just wanted what was hers to be respected. But here's the thing. Some people don't respect boundaries unless they're forced to. Emma had tried to be nice. She had given warnings. She had asked politely. They had ignored her at every turn. But the second she flipped the script, they backed off. Because at the end of the day, people will take as much as you let them. It doesn't matter if it's your time, your space, your energy, or even your damn swimming pool. If you don't set boundaries, someone will walk all over you. Was she petty? Maybe. Was she wrong? Not even a little. What about you? Have you ever had to stand your ground when people tried to take advantage of you? Or better yet, how would you have handled this situation?